Welcome back to the Making the Madness YouTube channel. Today I'm going to break down why Mike Woodson will lead the Indiana Hoosiers to the NCAA Tournament in his first year as the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers. Certainly, Mike Woodson has done a really good job overall just since he's gotten the job. He's gotten people to stay at Indiana. That's been certainly very important. Trace Jackson Davis, of course, the most notable of those. He has decided to stay, and just see what the Mike Woodson era brings. Uh, Others like Christian Lander, and then he's gotten some recruits. Xavier Johnson, Tamar Bates, a 4-star recruit. So he's bringing in players. He's keeping players. He's certainly done a good job thus far for Indiana. With his coaching pedigree, with what he's done in the past, what he does, just coaching, I expect Indiana to have a big season this upcoming season. So let's dive into the Indiana Hoosiers. So starting at the point, I expect this to be Xavier Johnson. He's someone that has kind of struggled shooting in the past, but he's a really good point guard. He's a good facilitator, high assist type player at Pittsburgh. He's certainly, I think, a very good point guard, someone with experience, someone that has talent, someone that can go out and score. So getting him, I think he's a very important piece. I think he's going to come in, start at the point guard, be very good in his first season. So certainly I think Xavier Johnson, if you're looking ahead to this season, he's someone you expect to have, just high expectations. Starting at the 2, I believe it will be Rob Finney. He's kind of started at the point guard in the past, but I think they'll kind of move him off the ball this year just with the emergence of Xavier Johnson, who I think is more of a point guard. But Finney, certainly, he could run the team. I think they'll kind of just have 2 point guards on the court at all time. He's a solid defender, solid passer, solid shooter. He not particularly great at any one thing, but he's a overall productive player and a good player to have on the court. So Rob Finney starting at the 2 is certainly going to be, I think, very beneficial for this Indiana team going forward. He's someone with experience, someone that's played with Trace Jackson Davis, with Race Thompson, with some of these players. So I think he's someone you want to have in the starting lineup, whether he's starting at the point, whether he's starting at the 2. I think him being on the court is going to be important just for Indiana's success. Maybe not in a scoring sense or anything like that. I think it's just a leadership factor. That's something you just can't add. So I think he'll be an important piece starting at the 2. Then look for Parker Stewart to start at the 3. He's someone back at Tennessee Martin was certainly a very good player. Averaged close to 19 points a game. Last season, his father unfortunately passed away, and he decided to transfer ended up at Indiana. Didn't play last season, but he's someone I expect to kind of come in, and he'll be a very good scoring guard. He's a very good shooter, was good at shooting back at Pittsburgh. Where was that Tennessee Martin? He had to take tougher shots, so his shot efficiency went down. I think he'll go back up, though. This season, he shot, I believe, 37% back at Pittsburgh. I think you'll kind of expect that from him. He was a high-volume shooter, high-volume scorer back at Tennessee Martin. We had to be the guy. Now that he's kind of, going to be, he's definitely not going to be the best player on his own team. I think that'll take a little bit of pressure. I think he'll be able to work a little bit more off the ball, and I think that'll be beneficial. So I think Parker Stewart starting at the 3 is certainly going to be beneficial for Indiana. Starting at the 4, I think that's where you're going to see Trace Jackson Davis. He, I think, is a potential first-team All-American level big man this season. You could even throw him in the way too early National Player of the Year race if you think Indiana is going to be a potential top 10 team. I mean, he's as good as you can get as just a big man. He's a good interior scorer, just elite post moves. He's excellent at that. He's a good rebounder. He's someone that very easily I could see having multiple 20-10 games. He's good rebounder, very physical, very elite size. You can't teach his size, and you can't teach his athleticism, his post touches. Uh, he's someone that's just going to completely light up the scoreboard and every night I think be the go-to piece for this Indiana team. So getting him back in the mix was certainly, I think, Mike Woodson's biggest accomplishment just this offseason, getting Trace Jackson Davis back, getting an All-American level player into the mix was certainly, I think, the biggest part of what he's done just thus far in the offseason. You can, talk about some of the other moves, but these other moves don't mean quite as much if you don't have Trace Jackson Davis, and they have Trace Jackson Davis back. He's going to be big, potential Big Ten Player of the Year. Just look for him to have a huge season for Indiana this season. Look for Race Thompson to start at the 5. He's a good defender, good rebounder, not overly long athletic, only 6'8", which kind of short for a big man, but he's tough, he's physical, he does kind of like glue guy things. You'll see a lot of times, like if Indiana's going up on the boards, he's always right there. He's always in the mix. He's always, in the mix for some rebounds. Good interior defender. He's, physical. So Race Thompson certainly someone that, you want on the court. And there's talk with Miller Kopp coming in that maybe Race Thompson comes off the bench. I think they'll start him. Just get someone that knows how to feed off Trace Jackson Davis. You can maybe play Miller Kopp, start him. I think you could maybe finish games with him, but certainly I want Race Thompson starting. He's just a solid overall piece and someone who's gotten better. He was really solid last year, and I think he's someone that, as he continues to develop his offensive game, will just get more and more productive. So Race Thompson, I think, will start at the 5. Coming off the bench, first and foremost, I think you guys start with Christian Lander, very high recruit, was supposed to be, freshman this upcoming season, decided to reclass, struggled a little bit, but I think he has some high upside. Originally entered the transfer portal, but he's coming back. Yet him, he'll be another, just another guard for this team that's full of them. Miller Kopp is someone I think he'll play bench minutes at the 4, at the 5. He's someone that, at Northwestern was solid, and he's someone I think will come in and play productive minutes. He can, space the floor just a little bit more than what you see out of Race Thompson, so he's certainly a good addition. I think that's kind of 1 and 2 off the bench. You could go a number of different ways. I think Jerome Hunter's someone that, has been productive piece in the past. He can come off the bench, provide some physicality as well. You can also come in, Trey Galloway, emerging sophomore, not an elite shooter, but he's someone gritty, tough. He can come in and play 10 to 15 minutes and be productive in the time there. And then, Tamar Bates is 4-star freshman. I think they'll try to work him into the lineup, get him some more minutes as the season goes. You want to develop your freshman, players. He's someone that, 4-star recruit, Mike Woodson's first recruit. So Mike Woodson's going to want to come in and play him, maybe even 2-man minutes, maybe let him make a few mistakes here or there. But overall, I think this is a very solid bench to go with a very solid starting 5. And Indiana just overall is in good shape when it comes to the roster building. Overall, this Indiana team is certainly very solid, and you add that to a Mike Woodson. And Mike Woodson is someone that, as a coach back in the NBA when he was coaching there, he's a very good game planner. He's someone that, got the best out of his players. He got the best out of the New York Knicks. I know the Knicks are having some success this year, but their best team was under Mike Woodson. It was, 2013, I believe. When he was the head coach, he led them to the number 2 seed in the East. And, that's just something that hasn't really happened this century. And Mike Woodson was the leader of that type of team. So he's someone with the coaching pedigree who's, been able to do the X's and O's, break down plays, break down defenses. The thing with him, I really had questions about him recruiting, but thus far he's done a pretty good job when it comes to that. Uh, Not only is Mike Woodson, I think, shown himself to be a good overall, pickup thus far. I think he's someone, he connects with the fans, he connects, with the state. And when you're looking ahead to this year, I think they're going to make the NCAA tournament. They just have too much talent on this team. Mike Woodson, I think, is too good of a coach. He's better than Archie Miller when it comes to coaching. And he's built a really solid overall core. So when you look ahead to this season, look for Indiana to make the NCAA tournament. I think they could, be a top 25 team throughout the season. That wouldn't be surprising. So look for Indiana to have big success in this season, make the NCAA tournament in Mike Woodson's first year at the head coaching position. Thanks again for tuning in to this episode of Making the Madness. We're doing more of these team previews, more transfer breakdowns, so stay tuned.